sins being not really sinful, but just sort of being a part of the human experience.
Everybody says that life just passes you by, in a heartbeat, in a blink, in an instant.
Throughout the whole album, I guess my inspiration through a lot of it was, obviously it's inspired after Dante's Inferno, and Dante's Inferno has a lot of influences from religion. And it explains why the people are where they are in hell, which, is kind of negative. So in my album, even though it's from the point of view of me in the Inferno, I wanted to write about the subject of each ring, how they occur in my life. And my goal in writing that wasn't to show these things as being bad necessarily, but to just show that it's the opposite of bad, that these things are present in everybody's life. And so, the point is to not be whatever the rings represent. Some of them are worse than others, so clearly you don't want to represent that. But, things like lust and things like gluttony and greed and all that stuff, when they're blown out to a certain proportion, they can, just like anything in excess can be really bad. But what I wanted to do was sort of like get into the point of view of really the embodiment of that sin and explain it how I see it in my life or how I see it in my mind. And in my hopes in doing that is bringing a little more, I don't even know what it really is, just like bringing to the forefront that it's not something inherently bad. It doesn't have to be inherently bad. People are not just black and white. Good people can do bad things and bad people can do good things, and everybody just sort of lives in a gray area. And so that's one thing that I wanted to really capture within each song. Some of them are a little more political than others, and some of them have a little more of maybe my thoughts on a certain type of person that could exhibit that behavior. But overall in the album, there's that as a theme. And there's there's the whole theme of the story, just following Andrew as he dies and goes into the Inferno and is traveling through each ring and learning more about himself, and eventually meeting Dorian Platinum and teaming up with him, and then exiting the Inferno. That's a whole story that I wanted to have some continuity throughout the whole album. And I don't know, to someone listening to the album for the first time, how well they would get that. But for me, that was a really important theme to have, at least in my head when I'm listening to it. So there's the story theme that's running through the album, and then there's kind of just the theme in general of, sins being not really sinful, but just sort of being a part of the human experience.
I'm